And good evening once again, everybody. Welcome to round number 2 of our 1980 DRM Division 2 series, coming to you once again from the Nordschleife. I'm Jason White. I am your commentator for this race. We just concluded round number 1. It was won by Nicholas Kirsten with Juha Boss in second and Matthew Sibignani third. Fantastic race, high attrition throughout, so lots to keep track of, but we are going to be going to race number 2 very, very shortly. And I wanted to run down the qualifying order because apparently it was different from the one that was shown at the end of qualifying. I think some people left the server and that's why it was slightly inaccurate, so I apologize for that. But here is the qualifying order as it will be for this race, because the qualifying is the same for both the first and second races here this evening. So they'll line up exactly the same. It'll be Nicholas Kirsten on the pole, Liam Dolan second, Juha Boss third, Grant Rudolph fourth, Cesarius Lipinski will be fifth. Then you have Giovanni Santarami, Matthew Simegnani, Ricardo Mendez, David Saber, David Wattman, Simon Wattman, Bruno Chacon, Keo McKeels, Ray Radal, Tim Hilla, Richard Wilkes, Eric Candido, and Johnny Aces rounding out the field in 18th place. So 18 cars. That's assuming everybody joins the second race. I don't really think there's much chance that people are going to say that's it. I just want one race this evening, especially if you didn't have a good result in the first one. You want to redeem yourself in race number 2. Once again, we're going to go for 6 laps. And here it is, the Nordschleife. Over 22 kilometers of pure hell. And 6 laps there. It is an incredible track. I've ridden around the track for 3 laps with an expert. I have not driven the track, but I will tell you, the 3 laps that I was chauffeured around the ring were 3 of the scariest laps I've ever experienced anywhere. It was just incredible how crazy it was. And it is a track that challenges everybody. It doesn't matter how good you are, how much you've accomplished. This is the ultimate test in many ways of how good of a driver you are. So, in any case, looking forward to this second round here. Juha has set his stopwatch here, and he's going to be eventually going to the race session itself. And there's the siren, so here we go. We're going right to the race session. Nicholas Kirsten is going to be on the pole once again. I won't bother going through the qualifying order since I just did, but the interesting bit here is going to be, can Liam Dolan, who had a chance to lead the race in the last in the first round, is he going to be able to get alongside and possibly get through Nicholas Kirsten in the second round? The reason it didn't happen in the first round is because he ran wide onto the grass in the south curve. So we'll see what happens here. The cars are going to be doing 1 lap of the Bettenschleife and then coming back to take the start of this race. So everybody getting in their appropriate spots here. And you notice how they line up in a very staggered formation here to start this race. I'm not sure it's going to be that way when they come rolling around to take the green flag, but we'll see what happens here. All right, so away we go on the formation lap. So Dolan is going to be very keen to do better this time than he did in race number 1. Grant Rudolph also, because he had a DNF, and Juha will be wanting to back up his second place finish in round 1 with another great finish here. Grant Rudolph, definitely, he's going to want to do better than he did before. And there were a lot of guys at the back there who did not make it very far. They were out of the race within a lap or 2. So hopefully attrition this time won't be so bad, and maybe we'll see them up at the front here eventually. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen at the Nürburgring. I think it's one thing that everybody can agree upon with this track, is that really anything is possible. So they're heading onto the back side of the course here now. I'll give you the starting lineup once again, just real quickly. Nicholas Kirsten, Liam Dolan, Juha Boss make up the top three. Then Grant Riddall, Cezarius Lipinski fifth, Giovanni Centorami sixth, Matthew Cibignani seventh, Ricardo Mendez, David Saber, David Watman, Simon Watman, Bruno Chacon, Keo McKeels, Ray Riddall, Tim Hilla, Richard Wilkes, Eric Candido, and then Johnny Aces riding at the back of the field, 18th. So here we go. Cars that got to bunch up here to be ready for the start of the race. As they come off the corner here, see if we get a race start for round number 2 of this 1980 DRM Division 2 Series. And there we go. The race is indeed underway. And here comes Grant Riddall on the inside, heading down towards turn number 1, and he sweeps around Nicholas Kirsten. But look at who is leading. It is Juha Boss, who leads into the south curve. Grant Riddall is in second. Fantastic. Nicholas Kirsten, the pole sitter, down to third. Cibignani up to fourth already. Dolan is in fifth. Centorami in sixth. Seventh is Schlipinski. Eighth, Ricardo Mendez. Ninth, Saber. 10th, Ray Riddall. So a very mixed start as we thought. But look at this. Here comes Grant Riddall. No, he's not going to be able to get Juha Boss here. But here they are coming onto the circuit proper. So Dolan was not able to capitalize in his second place that time either. But it's a 6-lap race. We'll see what happens here. Everybody looks to be in good trim. I don't see any issues through the serial order here. It looks pretty good. Look at Grant Riddall, very, very close to our leader, Juha. And here we come, looking at the Flugplatz. We have liftoff. Well, somewhat. The cars are full of fuel, so. And look at that. Cibignani already up to third place. That's very fast. So Kirsten drops to fourth. So this could be a very, very different race from round 1. We'll see what happens as they head now towards the foxhole. Boss is in the lead. Grant Riddall is in second. Cibignani third. Nicholas Kirsten fourth. Dolan fifth. Centorami sixth. Down through the foxhole at high speed. And look at that. There is. Oh no, my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a shunt. My goodness. Oh, multiple cars into the barrier. My goodness, there is Centorami, there's Slipinski, both out of the race. Incredible. And there's a tire getting hit by Tim Hilla. Hopefully he doesn't have any damage there. Good grief. That is an incredible accident, taking them out. And of course they're all the way down to the bottom of the order now. That was an incredible shunt. Probably not the best place to overtake there through the foxhole, I would think. But here come the leaders. And look at that, Cibignani definitely closing up on second place. Grant Riddall, look at this top 3, you can throw a blanket over them. And then you got Kirsten being tailed by Dolan, Ricardo Mendez in 6th. Here comes Saber, who had a blown engine in the first race. He's not going to want to repeat that. He's in 7th place. Ray Riddall is in 8th. 9th is David Saber. Look at that. Running a bit wide there is Tim Hill. You wonder if that bouncing tire has damaged his car at all. He actually does have damage. He's running with damage on the back of the car. So somebody has tapped him in the back. 11th place is Jonathan Asserklint. 12th, McKeels. 13th, Bruno Chacon. 14th, Simon Watman. Eric Candido, 15th. And these are the cars that are out of the race. Centorami, Cezarius Lipinski. Boss is now leading by a very, very narrow margin here. Looking back from Boss's car, you can see he's got a lot of cars right there. Very hungry drivers. this group, kind of like Mendez out of the race. My goodness, there's another one. What happened to Ricardo Mendez? See if we can find out. Maybe it happened too long ago, but good grief. We're already seeing the attrition. Here he comes. Is it a disco? It is a disco. That is really unfortunate. So here we come up to the carousel for the first time. Let's go through the field as they hit the carousel one by one. And you have Juha in the lead. Grant in second. Sibignani third. Nicholas Kirsten fourth, popping out. Dolan fifth. Here comes Saber. He is hitting the carousel just now in sixth place in the Sachs Ford Capri. I love that car. And right behind him there is a Zach Speed Ford Capri driven by Ray Radal. Then you have David Watman just now hitting the carousel in his Beamer. And there's Johnny Aces right behind him. Oh, that's a very close battle actually between Johnny Aces and David Watman. Let's hang with this a bit. Oh, Watman slows up, and there goes Johnny Aces by. Clips the grass just a little bit, but Johnny Aces up into 8th place. Very tidy move there by the Swede. Heading onto the curb there, but he's in good shape. And definitely Ray Radal is closing in on Saber here for 6th. This is a very close situation here. Could be a battle in a minute here. But look at this cluster of cars here behind Juha Boss. Juha's actually lost the lead now. Juha is his second now behind Grant Radal. So at some point, Grant got by. I'm not going to run back because it's probably too far to see, but at some point, Grant did slip by. He is in the lead now. Juha is in second. Sibignani third, Kirsten fourth, Dolan fifth, and then we got a gap all the way back to David Saber. Here he comes, and he's got Ray Radal for close company. So Grant definitely starting to stretch his legs here. Looks like he's got some power in that Escort. Heading through the third sector here. There's Grant, Juha now in second, Juha Boss is second, Sibignani third, Kirsten fourth, Dolan fifth, but all very, very close together. So anything could happen, I think, with this group here. We'll see how the cars do when they get to this straightaway section here. Very, very close racing. And now on to the main straight here, the long, long straight. Looking from Juha's car, let's see if that aerodynamic advantage that the Aeroheck has. It looks like he's got a bit of a roll on Grant, so maybe that is making a difference. He goes to the inside here, actually, because there's a curve coming up, and there goes Boss back into the lead once again. Grant down to second. I would say that superior aerodynamics prevailed there, but look at Sibignani. He's having a look. Running out of room there, but he wants to try to get by Grant also. Can't quite do it. Here they come now into the start-finish area, completing lap number 1 of the race. Juha Boss is in the lead in his Aeroheck Turbo 320 BMW. Second, Grant. Third, Sibignani. Fourth, Kirsten. Fifth is Dolan. This top 5 group has broken away from this group here. Saber in the Sachs Sporting Capri, who is in 6th, and you have the other Capri, the Zach Speed one, with Ray Radal behind the wheel. So there's a battle definitely developing there. But let's go back to the front here. Let's see what happens here. Slapinski also out of the race. So we're having, well, he was one of the first actually. So we're having a lot of attrition here as the cars head onto the circuit proper. Top 5. Looking back now from Juha's car. can see how everybody's like using every inch of road there, or the curbs and everything, just to stay in a situation where they're just leaving the. Here we go. Flugplatz time. No, actually, there's not a lot of air there for these guys, which is interesting. There we go. That's actually the Flugplatz. Okay, they're getting air there. I misidentified that corner. I apologize. Boston first. Second is Grant Riddall. Look at them come quickly over this curve here. Kirsten Sibignani. Oh, Kirsten's up to third now. Sibignani drops to fourth. Heading towards the entrance of the foxhole. Oh my goodness, Boss ran really wide there, but he managed to keep the car under control. And Dolan is now chomping at the back of, He's now chomping at the back of Sibignani. Heading into the Adnar Force section now. Oh my goodness, that was a car leaving the track back there. Let's look at a replay of that. Not sure what happened there, but let's see. There are parts and pieces there. Yes, and it was Sibignani. Sibignani has left the track and is out of the race, has lost 2 wheels. That's really too bad. I knew it was somewhere in that group, but there you see it. I just briefly caught it on the previous one, so Sibignani out of the race. That's really too bad. Had such a good run in the first race. Boss continues to lead. Grant is in second. Kirsten now third. And Dolan up to fourth with the retirement of Matthew Sibignani. And this is getting quite interesting here between Sabre and Ray Riddall. Same equipment, both Ford Capri turbos. And Ray might actually try might try David Sabre here at some point. Grant shadowing Boss, but not really in a spot to do much about it at this point. Look at this. Ray just worrying David Sabre as they head towards the Krankenhaus section. Over the bridge. Now back up the hill to X-Mule. Let's look at what's going on back here. Johnny Aces, another solid race, possibly in the making, going for 7th right now. David Watman is in 8th. 9th, K.O. McKeels. 10th is Chacon. And that's the last points paying position. Simon Watman tailing him in 11th. And then Candido is in 12th, a little further back. And those are the cars left. So 12 cars are running at the moment. Boss stretching his legs here a little bit, getting a little bit of space between himself and Grant Riddall. But as they come up to the carousel, here they come. You see him as they pop out the carousel. Boss takes the carousel very well indeed. He wants to improve on that second place from the last race. Popping out. Grant in second. Here comes Kirsten out of the carousel. There's Dolan. A little bit of back end coming out. And now we have a bit of a gap here before we get to the Capri pair of David Sabre and Ray Riddall, having their own battle back here for 6th place. Waiting for them to enter the picture. Here they come. Sabre is still holding off Ray Riddall. And Boss definitely, well, it's not much of a gap, but there it is as they come through. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops going forward. Dolan really letting the back end hang out there with his Aeroheck. So we got Aeroheck BMWs running 1st and 4th at the moment. And you see how much the cars are oversteering out of the corner. I mean, it's good to have a car that will rotate into the corner, but I would imagine that gets a bit tiring after a while. Dolan a little more under control this time as they head through the third sector now. Starting to lose a little bit of ground to these two. So this is an interesting pairing here. We have a 320 BMW Turbo Aerohec versus an Escort RS Turbo in the hands of Grant. Two different drivers, two different cars, but you saw how the aerodynamics really helped Juha on the long straight. So it gives me the understanding that if Grant wants to get by Juha, he's probably going to have to do it in the twisty bits and not on the long straight. We'll see what happens when they get alongside the highway here and see what happens. Oh, Johnny Ace is out of the race now. Oh, that's too bad. Had such a good finish in the first round. Okay, now you can see Grant is really well placed behind Boss, so maybe he can at least catch a good slipstream down the straight. But I don't know. Boss's car looked really, really strong in a straight line. On board with Grant now. And I think the best he can do at this point is just try to hang with Boss and hang in his wake. He's not losing a lot of time, which is encouraging for him. Look at him. He's actually following Juha wherever he goes, trying to catch that slipstream as best he can. Downshifting for the start-finish area, and now that will be 2 laps complete. We'll see if Grant can get any kind of an increase in his advantage here over Nicholas once they get through the... Now, Nicholas, of course, really showed how good he was. I would be surprised if he reels these two in after a while, because his prowess at the ring is obvious based on what we saw. Dolan and... and here David Sabers pulled out a little bit of the gap between himself and Ray Riddall. I'm sure he'll be happy about that. A little less stress. Wattman by himself. All these cars are spread out here on the long straight. Cam McKill's 8th. Chaco 9th. Wattman, the Simon variety, is in 10th, and that is the last points paying position. Then you've got Candido 11th, and that is the last car that we have running 11 cars. Grant is actually very close to Juha now as they start the first sector once again. Have a look inside. Schnitzer plastered on the back of that 320 Beamer in the front there. They're using every inch of road they possibly can to get through here as quickly as possible. Boss got having two wheels into the grass there, actually. And you can see in the mirror there, Nicholas Kirsten just behind these two. Not as big of a purchase out of the corner is, oh my goodness, alongside the hedges. I don't know if this is such a great idea. Here comes Grant trying to overtake Juha, and there's the Flugplatz. He backs off very wisely. I don't think that would have been a good place to try and overtake. And now they head through this valley on their way to the foxhole. Look at Grant. He's right with him now in his slipstream. Maybe he can pop out before they get to the foxhole and take him. That left-hander you have to really brake for. And oh, Grant getting onto the grass there, hauling it to a stop just before they get to the foxhole. Now this is the foxhole, very fast downhill section. Road is narrow, but you're basically just clipping the curbs on either side, trying to straighten out the road as much as you can. Up this short hill, left, and then a double right coming up, and you're into the Adnar Forest section. Very tricky. You don't want to go too fast through here. You can easily ruin a race by underestimating the skill needed here. But look at Boss. He's definitely, it appears that he's holding up Grant, at least in this section, but we'll see what happens when they get to the uphill section after the Krankenhaus. You can hear the turbocharger there like a soda pop machine. And Boss pulls out a little bit of a gap now, which I'm sure will be helpful for him mentally. And then we've got Kirsten, though, closing in on Grant. So Grant has to have 360-degree vision right now because he's got the car in front he's trying to catch, and Nicholas Kirsten right behind him, the guy who won round number 1. So not someone to be taken lightly. Dolan has fallen back a little bit from this group. And then here's David Sabers still in front of Ray Rodal, but these two are very close together, running exactly the same kind of equipment. Watman by himself, David, and there's K.O. McKeel. So these guys are all kind of spread out back here. Most of the action's going to be up in the front. And here's Grant getting really close to Juha once again. Oh my goodness, look how close. And this is a really tricky section. You have to brake here for this right-hander, and then after this it gets very fast. Series of very fast turns as you go up this hill, and then things start to level out a little bit. But if Grant's got a good handling car through here, it may just be what he needs to get back by Juha. Yeah, you can see how he's just closing a little bit here. That Escort handling very good, but there's not a lot of room here. Where's he going to go? He looks up now there's no room there. He can't look up the inside. The track is just too narrow. He has to brake for this left-hander coming up right now. Yep, watch out. Oh, shoot. Oh, man, be careful. And now the right-hander coming up next that is going to lead them to the famous carousel. Look at how much Grant is having to saw at the wheel just to keep that Escort under control. An Escort RS of his. Heading up the hill now to the carousel, into the bowl. Oh my goodness, Grant actually slipped out of the bowl, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time, but he actually recovered pretty good. You can see Kirsten there just behind these two, so he's waiting station just in case something happens here. Again, we talked about it. At the Nürburgring, often you're taking advantage of OPP, other people's problems. These three all right together now. Fantastic scrap here. Runs a little bit wide there, and actually might come under attack here now from Kirsten. That was a mistake from Grant. He ran a bit too wide, but I think he's going to be able to hang on there. That gives Juha just a little bit of a breather. They come up the hill once more. Boss is actually quite fast in this sector compared to Grant in this particular instance as I head up to the Schwalben-Schwans. Look at Kirsten, though. He's right with Grant now. Could possibly make an overtake here if he gets close enough and can slipstream on the straight. We'll see what happens. Through the last right-hander that takes them onto the long straight next to the highway. Through the hedges. But look at this. Things are very close here between Grant and Juha Boss. Is he going to attempt to overtake it? Looks like it's probably not going to happen because he's at a maximum throttle and he still is just hanging with him. He's not in a position to overtake. He doesn't have a roll just over the curb there. And now they're shutting down for the entrance to the main start-finish area. Man, oh man. So Boss is going to lead another lap here in round number 2 of the 1980 DRM Division 2 series. That arrow heck working very, very well for him. All that time in the Pininfarina wind tunnel paid off, apparently, for this car. Kirsten is in third, not far behind, and here's Dolan, who's kind of fallen back a little bit, but still in fourth place. And look at this, Ray Riddall has made his way past David Saber in this lap, and it looks as if he's pulling out a bit of an advantage now that he's free and clear and in clean air. So Ray Riddall up to fifth place, Saber in sixth, and we still have David Watman in seventh. Oh, look at this! There goes Grant Mai into the lead. Let's see it happen one more time in replay here. Looks like he has a bit of a roll. And then as they get to the left-hander that leads them onto the circuit proper, he goes up the inside, takes the lead from Juha Boss. Great driving right there. So Grant now is back in the lead once again. Juha down to second. Kirsten is in third, so really good scrap up here. Looks like these three are very evenly matched. Dolan still fourth. Look at how close these three are, man. My goodness. Heading to the Flugplatz now. And here we go, up in the air. Coming down now towards the entrance to the foxhole. Look at that. Juha's got a bit of a roll. Is he going to get by? He goes to the left-hand side. Is he going to get by? They have air, and Juha is back in the lead. Fantastic. That takes a lot of courage to be able to do that on the outside, but here comes Grant on the inside. Is he going to take the lead? Yes. Grant goes back in the lead. Great racing. Back and forth here at the Nürburgring. Fantastic stuff. Boss isn't finished yet. He's coming down the foxhole. Is he going to be able to get in front of Grant once again before they get to Adenauer Forest? I don't think so. It is very, very tight through here. He looks up the inside. Here they come. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, my goodness. Grant Riddall has hit the barrier and lost a wheel. He's out of the race. My goodness. So that changes everything. Now it's Kirsten in second, and he's shadowing Boss. Boss back into the lead after a really great skirmish with Grant Riddall. It's really too bad. So Kirsten now senses a possibility of winning 2 races in a row if he could just get by the white BMW 320 Arrowheck of Boss. Wow, it's amazing how fast fortunes can turn here. David Watman also out of the race. So the Nürburgring is claiming casualties as it typically does. If you've never been to the ring, one of the rules there is that when you set foot in the ring in a car, if you have an accident, most likely your insurance is null and void. That's basically what I've been told to understand going onto the ring, is that you are basically, nobody is going to pay to fix your car except you. So heading up Dex Mule now is our leader Boss, and second place Nicholas Kirsten. Saber also out of the race now, which is really unfortunate. Ray Riddall up to fourth now, actually, after tailing Saber for quite a bit. See, yeah, there he is. Ray Riddall is now up to fourth in his Capri. We've seen how this car can blow its engine if you're not too careful, so hopefully he's taking good care of the motor. Cale McKeel's now up to fifth, actually, thanks to the attrition. And Grant is sixth, but he's going to drop down the list. That's a familiar theme because of that before. Simon is still going in his Beamer. And Grant now slipping down further in this. There's David Saber. Candido is going to move up the field, of course, after he gets to the point. Here's the Flugplatz for Candido, but he's going to get up the order, and so will Chacon if he can keep going. exiting the carousel. Boss seems to have a little bit of a gap now between himself and Kirsten. Here's Dolan in third. Ray coming up to the carousel in a moment. So, but here's Kirsten starting to reel in Juha a little bit as they're into the third sector. God, look at it. It's back, forth. Enough to make you dizzy. So after this lap is complete, there will be 2 laps to go. That's all, and we'll see who's able to get snatch the victory here in race number 2. Look at this. Kirsten's got a bit of a roll, but not much she can do with it there because these are little short straights here followed by very tight turns. There's not much you can do to get by somebody. It's a very technical section. Definitely not a place you can overtake someone. You're too busy just trying to feel the road. Make sure you're in a good spot. There's another downhill section. Car gets light. There's the castle. You can see it on the left there. I don't think Juha is as comfortable in this section as Kirsten is. Into the Schwabenschwans, the swallow's tail. And out the hill, and we're going to be heading towards the long straight by the highway. Let's see if Boss gets a clean exit. He gets an okay exit, not the greatest. So can Kirsten take advantage of this? Here they go, onto the straight. Boss has got a bit of a roll. Looks like he's going to be able to maintain his lead along this section at least. We'll have to wait another lap, Nicholas will, before he can actually have a shot at it. And then very far in the distance there is Dolan third. Fourth, Ray Riddall out of the race. What happened here? My goodness. Another accident, and it appears this one might be close to the carousel. Let's see what happened here. I could be wrong, but let's see what happened. The wheels reassembling themselves as we go backwards in slow motion. No, it wasn't the carousel, but let's see what happens here. Riding on board now. Oh, and he just ran wide and hit the barrier. That's too bad because he had gotten by David Saber and was looking to have a good finish. That's really too bad for Ray. So both Riddalls out of the race now. That means K.O. McKeels is going to... Man, a big yellow flag there. What was that? That was Ray Riddall. Simon Watman is in 6th. He's going to be going up the standings. So K.O. is now in 4th. And eventually, Simon will be 6th. Eventually, Eric Candido will move up. And so will Chacon. So, once again, we have attrition playing a huge role as we are going now into the next to last lap. Kirsten right with Boss. So this is not over yet. So Kirsten's basically, I mean, really, he's got 2 laps to try this, and he's looking basically for any weakness on the part of Boss, who had a little look there, but I don't think there was much of a chance there of getting by. These cars very, very close together here. 2 very, very capable drivers. Down the short here now up to the just a little bit before the here comes the entrance to the foxhole. So Here's another chance for Boss to sprint away using his aerodynamics, because this is a very, very fast section. You're not going to lift going through here. Down the long hill up towards Adnar Forest. Everybody on the binders now. Into Adnar Forest. This place is really tricky. I've seen film footage of one car after another losing it here in concours laps. Not a place you want to make a mistake. Here's Kirsten right with Boss. The other thing we have to consider too is how hard are they pushing their cars, and could they actually have an engine failure or something else happen before the end of the race? It's possible. Liam Dolan in third place, on track for another good finish here. And KO, who didn't finish the first one here, is looking to get a top 5 finish here. So is Simon Watman. So good opportunity for these guys. Then Candido in 6th, and Bruno is the last car running in 7th place. So just like that, we're down to single-digit number of cars. Schlapinski was one of the first ones out of the race. Sorry, shocked myself a little bit there, but these guys here, definitely tense moments here, because just the slightest mistake on Boss's part and Kirsten is through. But it's interesting because we're already seeing a potential championship trend shaping up here. Aero Heck versus regular 320. After this right-hander, it's pretty fast up this hill here. Very, very fast left-hander here. You don't lift. Heading back to the right here. Eventually there will be a left where they do have to brake. Here, this one. Both of these guys very capable, have their cars under control. One more lap after this one. One more chance for Nicholas Kirsten to take the lead back. Or not back, but get another win possibly. Uaz in first, Kirsten second, Dolan third, Cam McKeel's fourth, Simon Watman is in fifth, Eric Candido sixth, and Bruno Chacon is in seventh. Heading around this carousel one more time, and actually it does look like Nicholas closed a little bit there on Juha. So we'll see what happens through this twisty bit. Juha doesn't seem too happy with where he was there. It's really hard through here to try to react to something because you're constantly braking, accelerating, because of the turns just come at you fast and furious through here, and you have to be in the right spot to go quick, and if you're not in the right spot, the barrier is likely the next thing you'll see. But look at how quickly they have to whip the car back and forth, just barely hanging on to the tarmac. Left-right coming up here, combination, downhill. This track is just so technically demanding. There's nothing like it, of course, but the thing that really starts to come into play here is fatigue, as there was a slight chance there for Nicholas. Now he's on the outside, not going to be able to get through there. Look at him saw at the wheel just to keep the back end underneath him. Big lockup from Boss heading into this corner here. And this is all happening in Sector 3. Downhill now and heading to the right. Boss pulls out a little bit of an advantage here. And Dolan is really, really far behind this group. He's, in fact, 20 seconds behind. So they don't have to worry about anybody else joining this party. So it's going to be a straight-up fight between Boss and Kirsten for the win here, it appears, as they head now into the right-hander that'll take them onto the long straight with Hedges. Boss did not have the best exit there, but and he breaks again. Can Kirsten get a roll on him here? Possibly. Let's see. Now, looks like Boss got a really good exit there, and the arrow of that Schnitzer BMW bodywork. Yeah, he's just pulling out, though. So it looks like we're going to need one more lap to decide this one. Two great races to start off the series. Double feature, double header, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's been very successful. A lot of fun, a lot of action. Thanks to Wilkes for the physics. Thanks to the ISO admins for running it. And looks pretty fantastic so far, this series. Out of the final turn, and we are now starting the final lap. These two right together. Dolan is going to start his final lap now in his Arrowheck. Heading through the south curve. Kirsten looking for any opportunity he can. But I don't know, this time maybe Boss has the measure of Kirsten compared to race number one. Heading past the pits on the backside, now onto the circuit proper for the very last time tonight. Boss leading, Kirsten in second. Who is going to blink? Who is going to make a mistake? You never do a perfect lap at the ring. Something somewhere goes wrong just a little bit, but is it going to result in a change in order here? We'll see. Kirsten right with Boss now. Just waiting for that opportunity to present itself. Left, right, just constantly through this section. Very, very difficult. A right here and then the left, and then we prepare for the last Flugplatz of the evening. There we go. Through the hedges. And then turning right here. And here comes the famous Flugplatz. Up in the air. Back down again. Two very sharp right-handers following it. You have to get the car settled immediately for these two corners following the Flugplatz. And look at that. Look at that. Kirsten has got a roll on Boss. Maybe he can get it done before they hit the foxhole. Not a lot of room here. And they have to both brake for this left-hander. And now we're heading to the entrance of the foxhole on the right here. This is a fast downhill section, flat out. You're just clipping the curbs and straightening out the section as best you can. Very exciting to sprint down through here in whatever car you're driving. Left-hander, then back to the right here. This is Adnar Forest. Things slow down dramatically. Look at the oversteer that Kirsten's dealing with there. His tires, I'm sure, are not at their best anymore. Neither are Boss's. Dolan is still back there in third place, but 37 seconds behind this battle. Oh, there's slight opportunity, but Kirsten didn't decide to go for it. That could have ended in contact, which nobody wants. Right-hander here. Bit of a slow acceleration for Kirsten. That gives Boss a little bit of a respite here. Right, then left, heading towards the cranking house. Very slow through here, but if you can get purchased down, you might have an advantage. Going. Oh, look at this. He sees an opportunity. No. Closes up immediately at the bridge. Up to X-Mule now. My goodness. Fantastic scrap here between these two. And the order in the back hasn't changed either. Dolan third, McKeel's fourth, Simon Watman is fifth, Candido sixth, and Shotgun is in seventh. And I'm sure that they are driving well within themselves at this point because they're all spread out. They don't want to go out of the race so late. But look at how close these two are together. This is for the lead and the win between these two. Show and tell time. Who has what it takes to make it to that line first? Kirsten following in the wake. Everywhere that Boss goes, there is Kirsten following in his wake. Wants to pick up as much slipstream as he can just to hang with him. Heading up towards the carousel for the final time, these two. Very evenly matched cars here. I mean, well, maybe not evenly matched cars, but the driving skill very good with both of these drivers. Up to the carousel. Oh, and they both take it very, very fast indeed, popping out. Very, very well done by both of them. But look at how close Nicholas is now. Of course, this third sector here, really, really difficult. Really, really hard to get even an advantage and then to get alongside somebody because it's so narrow. Left, right, left, right, left, right, just one after the other. Oh, look at that! Slight opportunity there, but he just wasn't, he didn't have the momentum to get alongside. Boss just slipped a little bit wide. And of course, with these cars being as wide as they are, all you have to do is drive just a little bit offline, and that's enough to keep the person who's trailing you behind you. Oh my goodness, Kristen got in the curb there, almost lost the back end of the car. So I think really what Kirsten's going to have happen is something, a mistake from Juha, or a car failure. Those are probably the only two things that'll change this outcome based on what I'm seeing here. Boss clips the curb heading through this section. But he's all right. But what a night it's been for these two. Kirsten winning the first race with Boss in second, Simignani third, and now here we are at the end of this race. It's the same two players. The only difference is Boss is in the lead this time and Kirsten's in second. Look at that. Kirsten looks up the inside. Is he going to get the lead? He does. Kirsten takes the lead. Here comes Boss back in the other. Oh, they touch. They touch. And no, oh my goodness, they're both into the wall, both out of the race. Incredible. Oh my goodness. They're both out of the race. Incredible. Let's take a look at this in replay. I cannot believe this. Kirsten slips by on the inside in this corner. Juha just ran a little bit wide, and there goes Kirsten ahead. Slips by, and here comes Boss on the way back. Goes into the door, the left hand or the right hand door of Kirsten, and that runs them both right off the track and out of the race. Incredible. We've got Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough action. In the last race of the evening here, Dolan is out of the race. Also, I don't understand where this happened. But look at who might benefit here, and who likely will. It's Cale McKeels. He hasn't caught up to this group yet, but he'll look at his HUD, and he'll realize that he has 3 DNFs right in front of him. Cale McKeels, if he can keep the car together, is looking at a win in the second race of this series. Incredible. I'm just trying to catch my breath here. This is insane. That was incredible. It just, you had Kirsten just getting ahead there, and Boss coming back on the outside of the next corner, and once he got his fender in the door, it just drove them both off the track and out of the race. Just unbelievable outcome. And KO now showing third. Eventually, that will turn into a number 1, and KO McKeels will be in the lead. and heading towards a victory. I don't know that KO has won a race here before. If he has, it was in a touring car event, perhaps. I can't even remember if that's the case, but what an incredible result this would be if KO is able to bring his car home. And he's driving an Atmo BASF sponsored BMW 320, so it's not even a turbocharger. Incredible development. I don't know what happened to Dolan, why he's out of the race. That happened about the same time. But apparently Dolan had something happen to him, and then we're just waiting for the opportunity here for KO to present itself. He just has to get to a point where he's further ahead, and he's getting to the actual point on the circuit where the accident occurred, and at that point it should update and show him as the leader. Simon Wattman, if he keeps going, will finish in second place in this race. And here we come through. This, I believe, is close to the section where that accident occurred. KO just has to keep the car underneath him here. He's got no contest with anybody. And it really does show you, again, that anything is possible at the Nürburgring. KO coming through another one of these just umpteen serpentine sections in the third sector that seem to never end. And he's probably hardly believing his luck as he comes through here. This is the corner where the accident happened. Watch for that 3 to turn into a 1. There he goes. The leader is now officially K.O. Michiels. K.O. Michiels from Belgium in his 320 BMW normally aspirated car. It does not have the pop machine sound. And Kirsten out of the race, Boss out of the race. But here comes the other benefactor of this situation, Simon Wattman, a guy who races with us all the time, doesn't always have the time that he needs to prepare, but here he is, possibly coming home in second place in his Rummel BMW. And again, this is a normally aspirated car, so we got the Atmo cars outlasting the turbo cars, not because of engine problems, but because of an accident that occurred at the front of the field. And look who's going to be in line for a third place finish. Bruno Chacon, potentially, in his Jägermeister sponsored car, and this is also a normally aspirated car. So a very unlikely result here, and Candido is going to be moving up the order here in a little bit, but just an incredible result. Here comes KO through the final corners, and he is going to take the win in race number 2. K.O. Michiels, number 59, wins the second round of the DRM 1980 Division 2 Championship. There he goes across the line. What an incredible result. I'm sure he's pinching himself at the moment, doesn't quite know how to react. Simon Wattman's got a ways to go, but he is now officially in second place. KO on a victory lap. He's not going to stop. Here comes Simon on the long straight to take second place. Now, the interesting question is going to be, because they ran out of time in the other one, does that mean that the rule applies that they didn't cross the line before the person who won the race? Does that mean they don't get points in the first round? That's something that Juha is going to have to sort out as the admin. But here comes Simon through the last series of turns, and through perseverance and attrition, here comes Simon. And there is actually the winner, KO, coming around. He just took the Bettenschleife to get back. And there is Simon. He is really happy. Second place. Fantastic result for Simon. That is great. He's very happy, obviously. And who can blame him? That you know, you start this race, you hope you'll survive, and then you find out you're on the podium. That's incredible. Here comes Chacon. This would be a fantastic result for him. And again, these are 3 Atmo cars, in theory inferior to the turbocharged ones, but in this case, the drivers beat themselves, I think is what you could say. I'm sure there's going to be some conversation between Juha and Kirsten after this race. But That's racing. That's what happens sometimes. Here comes Chacon up to the area where you shut off for the entry to the main straight, the start-finish area. It is Jägermeister 320 BMW out of the corner, and Bruno Chacon of Brazil is going to finish third in round number 2 of this series. There he goes across the line. Great result for Bruno. And here, not too far away, is his friend Eric Candido, who he invited to join ISO. And here he comes again. Eric is going to have another great finish in 4th place. Eric really has taken to ISO racing very well. Kirsten out of the race. Now, the interesting part is he's listed as 5th and Boss is 6th, Dolan 7th. But the question is, are those the only cars left running? Those 4? It's only those 4, it appears. Let's see. Hang on a minute here. Yeah, KO there. Simon, Bruno, Candido, and that's it. I think we only had 4 cars running at the end. Good grief. So if I interpret the rules correctly, that means only those 4 will score points. But we'll let those things play out on the forum later. But what an incredible result. Very unexpected. That was round 2 of the 1980 DRM Division 2 series. I'm out of breath. My voice is hoarse. Good grief. Just an incredible result. And we're going to wait here and see if anybody wants to come into the green room. Trivia question now. This is the one that we gave you in round 1. We're going to give you the answer here in round 2. Who won the Division 1 portion of the ADAC-Bilstein Super Sprint held at the Bettenschleife September 2nd, 1980? Was it A, Manfred Winkelhock, B, Klaus Ludwig, or was it C, Christian Danner? Time's up. I'm going to wait, actually, because we're really not in any rush here. Barry Lynn says B. Okay, who else wants to take a shot? Green room is empty, so I don't think we're going to see anybody come in here. US probably not in the mood to talk, and I wouldn't blame him. But KO is there. If KO wants to talk to us, he could. But we're going to wait here and see if anybody else wants to take a shot. Yeah, KO is in the driver's cafe, but not in the green room. I don't know. Maybe he wants to talk about this victory. We're going to wait and see. He's not in the green room yet. A is another one here. So that's about all the people we got venturing to guess. But I think that's one of the teams there, either Oscar or John. But whichever it is, they chose A. And guess what? You are right. It was Manfred Winkelhock. So I apologize to Barry Lynn, who's picked B. She was just basically, I think, taking a shot in the dark. I will not deluge you with wrong sound effects, because this is an expertise that I don't think many people have, this particular type of racing, unless your name is Matthew Sibignani. Anyway, so that's the answer to the trivia question. Let me remind you that coming up at ISO, we have the 3rd round of this great series, which apparently is going to throw up a lot of crazy results, if this is any indication, this race. And this one is at Mainz-Finthen, which is an airfield track. That's round 3 of 13. Sunday, September 28th, race start at 2000 CEST. And I mentioned before, look at the forum. You might be surprised by what gets posted there in short order. Don't quote me on that, but take a look and see. Possibly something is there. And guess what? We do have K.O. McKeels in the green room. I'm going to bring him into the booth here. Joining us now is the winner of round number 2 in this 1980 DRM Division 2 series, K.O. Sideways McKeels. Congratulations. It's often said that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Is that how you're feeling right now with this win in the DRM Division 2 series?
Yeah, more or less. I usually just drive it like I want it, and if a car just behaves the way I want, it usually just ends up me driving better than I'm ever hoped to be, and the results speak for themselves.
Well, this is clearly one instance during the season. I mean, the Nürburgring is really its own animal. There is nothing else that compares to it. Maybe the original Spa, which we're not going to run, obviously, but this really is one of those races where anything can happen and usually does. So it's one of those situations where you just try to survive and see what happens. But it looked like it had a pretty clean race throughout, and then suddenly the big surprise at the end. Not too many problems throughout.
I had some issues with the shifter, but that's just software hardware issue that they would not communicate well. Sometimes I would want to shift in, but the game doesn't allow because the game thinks I'm shifting without a clutch and it's with a clutch, and then it's like, okay, sometimes I have to override with the clutch, and because the game thinks that the car is a dog box, and
Oh,
sometimes it will not engage and something will not engage, and like double clutching just to be certain.
hmm. Well, fantastic result for yourself. Also, a fantastic result for Simon Watman, who finished in second place, and then Chacon, who came home in third to complete the podium. Looking ahead, we're going to Mainz Finten. What do you think about that?
We'll see, eh? When how it goes, it goes, eh? I'm not the guy who's just looking for me. I'm just driving like I want to do, and if the results speak for themselves, yeah,
All
then we'll
right.
see.
Well, congratulations again, KO, on a great run and a victory in round number two. And hopefully, Lady Luck will shine on you again in future rounds in this one. But really great driving. Excellent job, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks a lot.
All right. So, we mentioned that again. We're going to mention it one more time. Round number three is coming up. There it is. September 28th is the date. And the race will start hopefully at 2000 CEST. We got a bit of a late start today. Sometimes qualifying can run a bit long compared to what you expect it to be. So I appreciate people uh, being being patient where that's concerned. And that's really about all I've got. So thanks to KO for joining us at the booth, and thanks to all of you for watching at home. This is Jason White saying so long from the Nürburgring, and we'll see you on our next broadcast. Everybody take care and be safe.